Good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Wednesday, happy hump day. It's my favorite show of the week, Winning Together with April B. Merritt. April, it's been too long. It's been 7 days since we've done an event. I'm sorry, I said done an event. It's been 7 days since we've done a show, and I'm happy to be back. I'm happy it's Wednesday. I'm happy it's 2021. How you feel about 2021?
I feel good today.
Feel good
a rough start, but
2021. People were talking about killing 2020, getting 2020 behind you, and everybody was so excited to be going into 2021. I feel like 2021 in some ways was like, hold my beer.
Yeah, I think it was better for us than 2021 so far, but it's looking up now.
It's been great. It's been great. You know, the things that we learned in the last 3 years have been amazing. We want to help you learn some of these things too. Good morning, Joey Arbitson. Winning together. So what this show is about just that, how you can win with your partner, with your family, with your friends, with your business associates, with your customers.
Yes.
You know, so many people can look at business like totally transactional, and they don't see that, you know, how it's a partnership.
It's a relationship for sure.
It is a relationship. Glad you brought that word up. I'm going to get to relationships in just a little bit. I want to start the show by talking about how important it is to know the difference between an asset and a liability. Okay. I am a very studied person. Sometimes I don't take my own advice.
Yeah, that's true.
So we'll talk about that. So we're going to talk about how I'm a studied person, but sometimes I don't take my own advice. We'll get April to weigh in on that. What do you think, Jamie?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let's start by defining. Let's define an asset. How would you define an asset?
I define an asset as something that makes you money.
Okay. I love that definition. Okay. Now here is the tricky part about business and relationship and definitions and the English language and probably other languages. Jamie can tell us if this is true in the Spanish language, but there's different definitions.
Oh, I'm sure.
So sometimes you might be talking about something in a conversation with me, and I think you mean something totally different.
Yeah.
I think that happens sometimes.
Well, that happens on the regular basis.
What with Jamie and his?
No, with me and you.
Really?
Yeah.
How you mean?
We're often thinking two different things.
We're often thinking two different things. Yeah. Okay, so there you go. This is how you navigate those times when maybe you're thinking differently. Now you can usually tell when you're thinking differently because the looks between each other will be like different. Like, and maybe one person's confused, maybe one person's smiling, maybe one person is happy, and maybe one person's mad. So I think a lot of times, you know, people say communication is key. Yes, it is. But you can communicate all you want to or talk all you want to if the other person's not listening and if you don't understand the language that you're using.
Yeah, if there's misunderstanding
Misunderstanding can be terrible. So getting on the same page, at least by understanding and listening, is very important, right?
Yes.
Okay. So tell me again what your definition of an asset is.
Something that makes you money or will make you money in the future. I mean, maybe not right now, but something that is going to be profitable to you.
I totally agree with that. Now, so you and I we won't have any problems discussing assets, at least what an asset is, because I agree with you when it comes to financial. An asset is something that's either paying you or that will pay you in the future.
It's holding value.
Yes.
Well, yes, but now see, this is where it gets complicated.
Well, and some things, the liabilities have value, but they're just not.
That's so important.
You're going backwards when you try to cash them in.
This is an excellent conversation, an example of how definitions can mean something different. Because just because it, what'd you say, holds value or has value?
Holds value.
Holds value. Okay. So something that holds value, the way we're talking about it right here, and I'll show you in my personal life, in my personal list of air quote assets, how they're not really assets. Okay. An asset, Jamie, and those of you who are listening, is something, according to April and according to me, is something that pays you or something that will pay you in the future. All right. Now, let's what is it? Define liability. How would you define liability?
A liability to me is something that costs you money but does not make you money.
That's perfect. That is perfect. All right. So, and this is where it gets so tricky, is people think that assets are liabilities and liabilities are assets. Now, some liabilities show up on your asset column on your financial statement.
Right.
I know that sounds tricky and confusing. Let me just go ahead and
It's true.
it's true. So I'll start out with the first and the easiest one to identify. What would you think the easiest one to identify is?
Easiest one for me is the house.
Okay. A house that you live in is a what?
It's a liability.
Is a liability. So we have a beautiful house. You know, we put money into the house. Hopefully it's a store of value, like you were talking about, Jamie, and it is a inflation. As inflation goes up, the value of the house will go up. So potentially
you hope,
and it's an asset in the fact that you could borrow money against it if you wanted to, right?
If you don't owe any money on it.
Right. So, but even if you have a house that's paid for, you could borrow money against it.
Yeah.
So if you ever needed cash, if you ran out of cash, you got low on cash, you got in a crunch, you could use that house as what?
Collateral for your
That's
home.
correct. See, that's why it takes two of us, because I forgot. Boom, I forgot that easy word. You could use that house as collateral and get cash from the bank. Then that house is on the bank's asset column. And the debt that you owe on that house is on your liabilities column. Your debt's their asset. So your house is their asset. Your house is not your asset. Whew. And here's most importantly, let's say that you get it paid for, because so many people, including us, we're not, this is a judgment-free zone. So many people invest so much of their money into a house that they pay for over 30 years. And not only do you have a house payment if you have a mortgage, what else does that house come along? What else comes along with that house?
Well, if you live in the city of Douglas, you have a house payment for a light bill.
You have a light bill that's $1,000 a month.
We have Wi-Fi. We have property taxes.
Property taxes. That's the big one.
Insurance.
We have
upkeep. There's something always maintenance having to be done. Even on a brand new house, something's always needing to be done.
You have lawn maintenance.
Yes, that's the main one I was talking about.
Lawn maintenance. Okay. You have,
pool maintenance.
Pool maintenance. So we have pool maintenance. You have lawn maintenance. Every Wednesday and Friday, you're going to have to either clean it, which is a liability. If you're having to clean it, that's eating up your time, or you're going to pay somebody to clean it. So, and the taxes, property taxes, that's a liability. That's a total liability. So that house, Jamie, that house that you work your whole life for and by the way, paying off a house is a wonderful thing. We have someone who works for us who just paid off their house. But guess what? Now they still have upkeep. They still have maintenance. They still have taxes. They still have to pay to mow the grass or to mow it themselves. All right.
Great position to be in, but
yeah,
still.
It's a much better position than not having, a house paid for.
Right.
So you're building wealth as that house goes up, but you really never get to use it unless you borrow money against it. Or sell it. Unless you borrow money against it or sell it, you never get to use the equity in you're never really using it. It's just on your financial statement as an asset. That's all it is.
Most people sell and rotate. Roll that into the next one anyway. So even if there's
the only way that a house is an asset is if you sell it, or I'm talking about a house you live in. If you sell it, or if you just constantly borrow money against it, you can borrow money against it. Now, this is a little bit complicated, but inflation, you buy $100,000 house today, 20 years from now, maybe it's worth $1 million. That sounds far-fetched, but you look back, people and what they pay for houses in the 1970s and 80s and what they're worth today. Okay. So if the great news is, if you have a mortgage, you pay that mortgage back in dollars, and the future value of a dollar is less than the dollar it is today. So you really, by getting a mortgage, you're getting your house cheaper if you take 30 years to pay it back. So that, I know that's kind of complicated, but anyway, that's maybe a whole different show. What is a good example of how a house can be an asset?
Well, you do get tax breaks for some of that.
When you're actually on the house we live in, we don't get any tax breaks at all. You get tax breaks if you have a mortgage on the interest.
Oh, that's right, the interest.
So,
yeah.
But how's another way you can use a house that you're not living in?
That you're not living in?
We have
rental
house. So we have another house,
mm-hmm.
and that is a house that, well, we'll just go through the numbers really quick. And some people say this is not a good ROI. Some people, there's plenty of opinions again to go around. We paid $170,000 for a house that we felt like that was a good market, that it was below market value.
Mm-hmm.
And we rent that house out. Now we wanted to get for $150,000, $160,000 house. It's nice to get a 10% return, which would be about $1,500 a month.
Right.
Okay. $1,200 to $1,500 a month annualized. That's a good return on your investment. It's steady as a rock because real estate goes up. Real estate rarely goes down. Okay. And then that cash flow, that's an asset, Jamie, because that house is paying you every month. It pays us. Now, we did have to reduce the amount of rent that we wanted to get a good tenant that we wanted, that we knew would take care of the house,
mm-hmm.
that would pay and pay on
right.
time. And she pays on time.
Yes.
$1,050.
Very much.
That's
so.
a great deal for her,
mm-hmm.
but it's a great deal for us too. Because once a month, she gives us $1,050, and that covers the taxes, and we get to take advantage of inflation as the value of that house goes up. I bet it's worth, if we was to ask Hank Youngblood, the local real estate guru here in Douglas, Georgia, I bet he would say he could sell that house for $185,000.
Yeah, probably.
You agree?
Yeah.
Okay. So now we have a house that somebody else is paying for or paying us for that's going up in value. And then we did go back and borrow $125,000 against the house, and that lady's her monthly rent pays for that loan, services that loan. So she's paying back the money that we used, $125,000. She's paying it back. The value of the house is going up every day. That is an asset. Okay. So let's say, all right, you can get it. Even if you didn't have the cash to pay for that house, you could buy that house for what? 30,000 down?
Yeah, you could actually probably it would be about that.
About 30,000 down.
Yeah,
so let's say you had $30,000 and you wanted to create it. You could buy a house and live in it, or you could buy a house and rent it out.
Mm-hmm.
You buy a house and live in it, you have to make the mortgage payment.
Right.
And now your 30,000 is gone. Okay. You buy a house and rent it out, someone else is paying that loan for you, and hopefully you can live somewhere. Now, eventually you got to live somewhere. There's nothing wrong with owning a house. Right. We definitely believe in owning a house,
I'm pretty sure we made that decision.
We made it kind of clear. But for a long time,
years and years, we
rented. Because we rented big nice houses for $800 a month. Then I think 1,000 or 1,100. 1,100. We rented houses, and houses that you couldn't buy for that. You definitely couldn't build for that. And then the good thing is, when you rent a house, when you're the renter and the air conditioner tears up, you call the person who owns the house. They have to fix it. Anyway, so it's been 15 minutes. We've only talked about houses. So I want to talk about, now there's this back page right here is my my favorite assets to talk about. Don't leave. You definitely want to hear about the assets, what I consider are the most important assets. And I think you'll agree with most of them.
Okay.
Let's talk about asset classes. Now, some people say there are 5 asset classes. Some people say 7. Some people say 9. Again,
Okay.
opinions. Okay. For instance, I consider paper assets, commodities, and real estate your 3 main asset classes.
Okay.
Some people take stocks, they call that equities, and they consider that different than cash. It is different. I understand that, but I'm just saying they're all paper. Cash. That's an asset. If you got $1 million cash, that's an asset.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a depreciating asset. If you put $1 million in the bank today, 10 years from now, that money is going to be worth, hopefully, I'm being very optimistic, $500,000. 98% of the value of the dollar has already evaporated. That's why prices were so low years ago. In 1942, I think we said you could buy a brand new car for $800. Brand new car you could buy for $800, or 23 ounces of gold. 23 ounces of gold equaled $800, equaled the price of a brand new car. In 2020, the average price for a brand new car was $39,000. Okay. 39,000 from 8,000. So it seems as if the price of cars have went up astronomically.
Yeah.
It's not true. The value of the dollar has went down dramatically, because if you had those same 23 ounces of gold that you could buy a car for in 1942, you could buy that $39,000 car in 2020 and have 3 ounces of gold left over. So if you price your cars in gold, cars are cheaper today than they were in 1942. Cars haven't gotten cheaper. The value of the dollar has evaporated. But try to pay for something with anything but cash.
Yeah.
You can't do it. So, or some form of money. Yeah.
Yes.
You can do it with digital dollars. You can't do it with Bitcoin. But anyway, totally different show. So that's paper. Cash is paper. Stock is paper, because you own a certificate that says you own a certain part of this company. For a long time, I owned what I consider a decent amount of Facebook stock. I owned the paper. I never went to California. I never been to Silicon Valley, but I was a stockholder in Facebook. They don't pay dividends, but as they're a growth stock. So as they grew, my net worth grew. I recently sold all that, and I plan on this. I totally expect the Facebook stock to drop. I'm actually in a short position on them. That's another story. Bonds. You don't actually hold the bonds. You hold the paper, right? Now, is an annuity would be considered paper as well?
It is paper.
Okay. You've sold annuities in the past. So annuities considered very safe. You give someone money and they're going to give you back the money at a later time in greater quantities than you paid in. Life insurance policy, paper.
Yes.
You hold the paper. So that's an asset class, in my opinion, paper. Do you agree?
Yeah.
Cash, stocks, they're all kind of the same. Now, there's a bunch of differences, I understand. The next asset class is commodities. Mm-hmm. All right, now a commodity, what makes a commodity different than a paper asset? Here's some examples of commodities: gold, silver, copper. Those are precious metals. Now, some people classify those as asset class in their own, precious metals. Coffee, orange juice, wheat, oil, livestock, pork bellies. All those things have those are all commodities. They're traded daily.
Yeah.
They have a market price. I don't mean they're bought and sold in a store. I mean people actually trade the commodities. Commodity price is a big market. Now, commodities, they're real.
Their liquidity, is that what you're going to say?
No, you can liquidate them.
Yeah, I mean you can.
But you can also like you can buy a barrel of oil if you talk to a commodities broker. You can also invest in. See, it's tricky. It's very tricky. You can invest in oil stocks, or you can invest in agriculture stocks, or you can invest in gold mining stocks. You're buying the paper. You're holding paper that represent the commodity, but you can actually trade in commodities. Do you remember in Trading Places with Eddie Murphy, when the rich millionaire, billionaire, and Eddie Murphy swapped places, and then they drove the price of
I don't remember
orange juice. They drove. That's what they were doing. They were on the floor of the stock exchange. I think they bid it down. They were so anyway. It has a market of its own. You can buy orange juice. You can buy pork bellies. You can trade in all these things. They're usable. Okay, commodities are something that you use. Copper, all the things you call gold and silver, electronics, jewelry, wheat. You consume it. These things can be consumed or used. Okay. Paper, you can't eat paper. Okay. So, but commodities have a correlation with money and with the dollar. As the money supply increases when they print money, the commodities go up as well because it takes more dollars to buy them. Yep. And then the third one, which you know the most about, we've already talked about, which is real estate. So those are your three asset classes. You can have liabilities in real estate, or you can have tremendous assets. One of the best assets you can have in real estate is multifamily homes. We don't own an apartment building, but it would be nice if we did. You know, if we had a huge complex in some tropical area where lots of people went there and lots of people lived there and rented from you, then those areas appreciate even faster. So if you're looking for real estate investments, then sure, we invested in Douglas, Georgia, but most people don't run around looking for Douglas, Georgia to invest in. They're investing in growing cities, places like that. Now, here's what do you think our greatest asset, and it's really maybe tricky because it's not even on the paper right here. When we're talking about financially, what do you think our greatest asset is? And I sat down and really did some studying on this, so it probably won't just pop out to you.
Okay.
What do you think it is, though? Maybe it is.
Our greatest asset?
Our greatest asset.
I mean, I was going to say the business, but
yes, that's true for sure. 100%. So that's another asset class that we don't even have on here, which is a business itself. Okay. A business is something where you provide a service or a product and make a profit. Yes. Our business by sure is, because it does pay us, and it creates cash flow inside the business itself. I broke it down. Because this business, we own this building, we own this equipment. Right. Okay. And we have cash in the bank. We have real estate. We have our equipment, and then on our financial statement every month, you have your accounts receivable. So when I really got to studying that and thought about where the most return comes from, it comes from the accounts receivable. It doesn't come from the real estate, or the equipment. You have to have all those, or you really do. But that accounts receivable is your biggest asset, because that's where your cash flow comes from. So where does your accounts receivable come from? Your salespeople. So your salespeople, and yesterday, Jamie, Joey, Paul, and of course Caleb, Kevin, they all closed some deals yesterday. As soon as those work orders get turned in, as that an invoice gets created, and that invoice becomes the accounts receivable. So in most business, I would argue in almost every business, your accounts receivable is your biggest asset. If it's not, then you got kind of
or maybe you should say your people.
Absolutely. Your people are your biggest asset, because they create They create your accounts receivable. Now you can be a one trick pony where you create all the sales. You know what I'm saying? And there's no doubt that my promotions and the things I do make a situation where maybe we have name recognition when Jamie's calling on somebody, when Joey's calling on somebody or whatever. But when for those sales that happened yesterday, didn't have that much to do with me. So that's why commission is so important. So they can be rewarded for creating accounts receivable. So people that create accounts receivable, your most important asset. I agree with that. And we've been talking about financial, but everything is either an asset or a liability.
Yes.
You know, you take a pit bulldog, a vicious one like JJ. He could be a liability if he bit somebody.
Yeah.
You know,
especially his mama.
Yeah, he did try to bite you one time. But he's an asset because of all the things, you know, he's just wonderful. But your health.
Yes.
And when I wrote down health, I meant it as an asset. Good health.
Always.
That's correct. Good health is probably, in my opinion, your biggest asset if you have it. Yeah. If you have good health, I would say that your health is your biggest asset. Because
without that, you're not very profitable in any of the other ones.
It's hard to be. Yep. Mm-hmm. If you have poor health, then it's going to be so hard. It's going to be so much harder to do all the other things. And that's unfortunate because you see even some success or a lot of successful business people, they focus on all these things we were talking about over here. And a lot of people are much smarter than you and me, you know, about these things over here. But in the long run, we might pass them because they're not paying attention to their health. And if you have,
it's hard. I mean, it's a choice every day to put your health at the top of your priority. I mean, it's difficult.
Yes, it is. Would you agree that good health is your biggest asset? Same page right there. All right. Bad health could be your worst liability. You know,
I mean, we've talked about that through what everybody's going through right now. I think it makes a huge difference what's happening to people. No disrespect to anybody that has lost anybody, or I think if you look at the picture of the people that are losing their lives, they're not their health has not been a priority.
Well,
my opinion.
Well, I don't totally disagree, but a lot of will say that you are much more likely to have little problems if you're a healthy person, because some people's health have been compromised and they, you know, I'm not saying they have zero control over it, but
no, I'm not. I like I said, I mean, no disrespect. There's people that have conditions that are completely out of their control that have been affected.
Yeah. If you're healthy, and you take care of yourself and you eat well and you rest well, then you're able to handle things, including viruses, better than people who
I got sick too. So,
yeah.
I mean,
yep. Relationships could be either way.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, we have had to purge certain people out of our life because they were a liability to our well-being.
Yeah. And sometimes those people are very close. I mean, you think they have your best interest and you think they're very close to you, but they're not. So you have to, if it's a negative, or if they bring a lot of negativity, you gotta let it go.
If they bring a lot of negativity, they may even love you and they may have your best interest at heart. Maybe not at mine. They think they do, but they're not helping you. And if it's a family member or someone that you love, you don't have to not love them, but you just don't have to
love them at a distance.
You can, and you know that doesn't mean you can't see them, but you just don't have to see them as much,
right?
You know, and then of course friends, you know, a true friend is a true friend. But now I've had friends that I still consider friends, but their path went different directions than mine,
right.
And we don't have a relationship anymore. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If I see them at the convenience store or I see them, you know, at the restaurant, I'll say hello, but we're not hanging out. We're not doing things we did 10 years ago, 20 years ago. You have to make a separation and then replace that with healthy relationships, and by the way, the right partner is key. So, above health, I may even put the right partner. Relationships and health can be so close because some people that do amazing things that maybe have been compromised health, but they still have the right partner and they can form the right relationship and make up for it. I wouldn't be anywhere close to where I am now if it wasn't for you. I mean, there would be no possible way. And this is obvious because before you, I wasn't, not that I never had any success, and you had success before me, but like when you can get on the same page and talk about things, and it ain't always easy. There's going to be disagreements. There's going to be rough spots, but if at the end of it, you can still understand, okay, here's where we are and here's where we want to be. And here's what I can do. And here's what I can do. And I got your back and I'm here for you and I support you. You know what I'm saying?
We don't do this show because we think we have all the answers and we have our moments for sure. Cause we are very opinionated on each side. I mean, what we think is important, what we think is the most important. I mean, very opinionated, but we're on the same page for the most part.
Well, and this conversation right here, maybe the show is just for you and me because we don't lie on this show. So no. And I would say, Jamie, you've been in the room with us right here. Do you think that most of what we've talked about today, we actually agree on or disagree on?
I'd say y'all would agree on it.
On most of it. So so maybe that is something that we need to understand is, look, we agree on way more than we disagree on. That's important. Yeah. And it's okay to disagree.
Yeah. I mean, it's okay to have a discussion about what you disagree on. It's okay for me to have a different opinion. And it's
actually not okay to not have a discussion about it. I mean, sometimes sure there's things not worth mentioning, but like if it's, if you're trying to get here and you're over here, well, and there's two paths, you need to talk about them.
Yeah. And suppressing how you really feel is not ever going to end up in a good place. I mean, it's just not.
So, and you already nailed, I mentioned that one before I meant to, but the right partners. And that can mean your partner in life. You don't have to be married to somebody for them to be your partner. You don't have to be in a relationship with someone for them to be your partner. Last night I was up here till almost 7 p.m. and Jamie stayed and worked late, past his shift yesterday. I talked to Joey, I talked to Chad on the phone, and look, those guys are my partners. And then a little before I left, it was after 6. Kevin, who wasn't scheduled, he rolled up and we went in there and we handled business. That's a partner relationship. That's not just, hey, I work for you, so I'm going to do this.
Well, and that's one reason that we have been so crazy successful is people that actually do care. They do. And that means a lot. That means a lot.
Yeah. So, Paul and I have talked about on our show several times, and to the point where it's like, it's all they ever talk about, but it's the people in our relation, the people in our organization are powerful. Right. If I've done anything right, I've attracted the right people. Right. I've attracted some wrong people too. And they ain't no longer here.
They're not here and they won't be here, but this is supposed to be, to be successful, it's almost got to be like a family. And I really do believe that, but they know, the right people here know that we would do anything for them if we could.
Absolutely. And what I know is when there's challenges, or difficulties or new goals, I know who I can rely on.
What I like the most about all of them is that they don't have for me, my mentality is I absolutely cannot take when somebody says that's not my job.
Right.
I got off at 5. Mm-hmm. I didn't answer my phone last night because I was off work. Mm-hmm. And that's fine. I understand everybody needs family time. We enjoy time away. But if the phone rings, we answer the phone. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And most, all now, I'll say all the people that are in this office all the time, they don't ever make you feel like I just got off work. Now they might act like that when they're not around us, but I haven't seen it.
Yep. And it's important because we know they have our back, right?
Mhm.
Of course, you're going to question it sometimes, and say, okay, is this really, because you believe in some people and they let you down.
Oh, absolutely.
But
that's people.
That's human nature.
That's just the way it is.
That's why we have the show, so we can work through those things. But when, it's also important that they know that we have their back.
Oh, absolutely.
For instance, I didn't even mention it to Jamie because he was busy doing something else. And I had a client, a dealer that had been doing business with us for a long, long time. He was calling and complaining. And I was like, this doesn't sound right. This doesn't sound right. So I called Kevin. I got Kevin on the phone. The dealer was asking me about this, this, and this. I said, look, I trust these guys to the end. So I'm just going to tell you right now. Yeah. I
don't think this is what's going on.
Yeah. So I said, hold on a second. And I dialed Kevin. Hey, Kevin, you got a second? Boom. And put him on the phone. And I said, Kevin, here's what my guy's saying. And here's what I told him. I told him that I'm with you. And so tell Kevin what the problem is. And actually, he mentioned some things. And Kevin said, you know what? The dealer's right. I see what he's talking about right here. Let me fix this, this, and this. But when I called him, he knew that I had Kevin's back. We're going to always make sure that the customer is served properly, and that's
absolutely.
But I can't serve him properly if I'm just giving him lip service.
No.
Same,
and we don't. We're not into the throwing people under the bus thing.
No. No. Not in my people. I'm going to say, this is my business. My name's on the sign, and so it's my fault if something goes wrong. Speaking of which, a few weeks ago, we had a problem in Louisiana where the ads wouldn't go out, and the dealer called Kevin first, mad about it. I'm sorry, he called the person who's no longer here anymore, and that person needed to go somewhere else because he wasn't handling our business like we thought he was. So the dealer called, and he couldn't get any straight answers. So he called Kevin, and Kevin said, "Look, here's the deal. The ads aren't going out right now. We can't get you any leads if the ads aren't going out." And the guy said, "Well, I want my money back." Kevin said, "No problem. No, we don't want your money." So guess what happened last night? That dealer called back. We're starting a new event on Sunday for that dealer. And if the other person, it's obvious the other person.
The truth is always the best way to go. And always the best way to go. Even when it stinks, it's always the best way to go.
And Kevin said, "Look, man, I don't know what to tell you other than this. Here's the truth. Here's what it is. And well, I want my money back." No problem. He sent it out. Ray Mucci said he needs some of those new hats. Ray Mucci, another guy up there in the Midwest. By the way, if you're in the Midwest, let me speak about business for 1 second. This is only because of Ray. If you want some hats and you're in the Midwest, you need to contact Ray Mucci. I think he serves about, look at that, lines up perfectly. He serves about 8 states up there in the Midwest. Ray Mucci can come to your dealership and do a sales meeting. He can train your BDC. He can give you some reading material that will really make you more powerful. And down in Florida, I wish Carson Henry was on today. So nationwide, 48 states I think we've been in. Or 47. How important do you think training salespeople are if they want to win in their marketplace?
Extremely important.
That's right. And we have the Digital BDC Academy where you can get trained. You can train your salespeople. You can train yourself. You can train your BDC. You can get access to that for as little as $99. That's a big deal. You need to message us about that. But you can also get, if you're in the Southeast, you can get a live sales meeting from me or Joey or one of my trainers almost anytime. You have to schedule it in advance. We can come on site. We've been as far as We've been as far as Texas. I've flown out there for a tour. But the good news is, if you're in the Midwest, Ray Mucci can be there, and I'm sure he would do it for free. Michael Carson, thank you for responding. Michael's in the North Georgia mountains. Michael, share your link with us about the Georgia Mountain watches. He has all kind of raffles and stuff. It's really fun, and you can get in on some deals, and you can win some things. You can get some great prices on watches. So there's a free plug for Michael Carson, who helped to start this whole thing.
Because he's a very loyal friend.
He's solid as a rock. And by the way, if you look at the people who commented, Joey, Sarah, Ray, Michael, solid as a rock. Yep. These people are solid. That's the kind of people you can depend on. When you need something, when I need something, I can call on any of those and they will answer. So relationships, it doesn't have to be intimate relationships. If I need something and I am in North Georgia, Michael Carson.
You know who that's going to be.
That's right. If I'm in Colorado, Sarah's going to look out for me. If I'm in Ohio, Ray Moochie's got me. Joey, there's no telling where he's going to be.
Who knows about Joey?
There's no telling where he's going to be.
He still got you wherever he is.
He's got us. And Chad Gay, I know Chad's working right now. He can't quite comment right now. But anyway, your relationships is so important. You need some strong relationships. You beat me to this earlier when you said sales team. Your sales team's your most valuable asset in business.
In whatever business you're in.
Yeah,
not just ours.
Yeah, you got to have, because a great salesperson, they're going to do whatever it takes to sell it and service it, because the best sales is actually serving the customer.
Absolutely.
If you serve that customer well enough, they're going to continue to buy and buy and buy. And a buyer is a buyer is a buyer is a buyer. You sell somebody something one time, you keep that service top notch, they're going to continue to buy from you over and over and over.
Right.
So I want to conclude the show today, since Michael Carson is what made me think about this. He mentioned that how we come on here and we talk about business and we give real advice. Mm-hmm. Sometimes, because I am a salesperson and I am a pitch man, what I say sounds like a pitch. There's nothing wrong with that. But what I've learned over from doing these shows is everyone's approach is different, and most approaches are effective to some people.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm lowering my level, coming back down here so that I don't sound like an over-the-top salesperson or a monster truck announcer. And I want to ask you, this is some good advice about sales.
Okay.
From April. If someone has a business and a website, what should they be focusing on daily?
A business and a website. Driving people to that website.
Driving people to that website. Now, there's tons of ways to do that. You can use Google AdWords. You can use Facebook. You can, there's tons of ways you can drive people to your website. Main thing is having some good products on there. And then when people show up to that website, how do you handle, what's the sales process? What can you do to your website to make sure that you're maxing out every opportunity?
Making it easy to navigate, to me, is one of the things. You go to so many websites and you can't even get to where you're trying to go. And updates, like, it needs to be fresh and new. It can't be, I'll just use furniture because that's just
sure.
But you can't have furniture from 25 years ago and somebody call and say, hey, what about this? And they don't even make it anymore. I think it has to be updated, fresh and new and attractive and easy. Okay.
So what about when they want information? They're on the website, they're looking at a sofa.
You got to have a good chat provider.
You need a good chat provider.
Kind of like DigiNinja.
DigiNinja, there you go. You sound like a salesperson. So DigiNinja Chat is the most effective chat out there. And you've really seen some of these other websites. How would you rate most furniture stores? How would you rate their chat?
Not a 1, I guess.
Okay.
You have to.
Now,
there's nothing else, but
if someone had a DigiNinja Chat on a furniture website and they wanted to get information, and you and your sales team was answering those leads, do you think that would increase sales for that furniture store? Yes. And that's the same for cars
or anything. Yeah.
So being able to communicate with someone in real time with chat or text, you can have a text number on there. Hey, text this number. Yeah. DigiNinja does that as well. So I just wanted for people to hear another pitch or another opinion on websites and their chat. I like what you're saying. Make sure it's updated. You don't need old, outdated stuff. And if you say text me or chat with me, you need to text with them or chat with them.
Don't ask them. They don't want to talk to you. I don't want to talk to you. I mean, if I ask a question online, I don't want to talk. I might be doing 10 other things. I want you to just answer my question.
Yep.
Just answer my question.
And then there may be a time when.
Oh, I mean, like you, I know you believe that there's a time to stop texting and start calling, but that's after you've gotten in the door. They trust you and they want to do business with you. We're just trying to close it.
Right.
I mean, with a voice.
You said a big word there. You said trust. You know, so many people want to teach, build rapport, get that phone number, you start ask for a phone call. Until you have trust, all that's not very effective. So trust, you want to build trust, not rapport.
Right.
Yeah, I agree with that. What's Ray Moochie saying there?
Will come outfit your store with everything it needs to be successful online and dominate your market. We will teach you the art of text message selling. Buyback Billy Tour 2021.
Buyback Billy Tour 2021. The Buyback Billy Tour 2020 was amazing. We went to Texas. We went to Florida. We went everywhere in between. We went to Nevada. We went.
Did we do that last year?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We went.
I can't remember.
We went a bunch of places. We went all up and down the eastern seaboard. But Ray Mooch, he's taking over the Midwest. We'll let him have that. And we need a California representative. Michael Carson, he has bags. He will travel anywhere. But the 2021 tour has not. The DigiNinja Express is sitting on the tarmac. We need to gas that baby up and take it for a trip somewhere. Yep. So maybe February. I think in February we need to revisit those dealers. There's like 3 or 4 really important dealers in Key West, Florida.
Yeah. I think we probably need to talk to them again.
We need to go see them. I'm thinking sometime in February, Key West needs to be visited. That's what I'm thinking. Hey, Ray, Michael, thank you so much for commenting. Everybody who's watching today, if you don't mind, give us a like, give us a share. If you'd like to be on the show, send me a message. I'm all about having some guests on here. We got some big guests coming up, and we have can't wait for our unveiling of the studio.
Well, it's shipping today.
Is it shipping today?
Mm-hmm.
Praise Jesus. Wow, great job. By the way, everybody doesn't see all the things that April does, and designing. We showed off the way you design this place, and you're on the show on Wednesday. But a lot of the things that we need to do business every day and every week, you take care of, including ordering all the equipment for the studio, and that has been
happened. I started over 2 months ago on those TVs.
Way over 2 months ago.
I ordered it November the 6th.
Yep.
I know exactly when I placed the order, and it was supposed to ship in 2 to 5 days. And 5 weeks later, we finally got it without brackets, and then we got a busted one.
It's been a nightmare, but
it's been something else. But they promised me expedited shipping today, so we'll see if they follow through.
Maybe that means it'll be here in a week or so. But
I can't help how long the boat takes, but
you got to take responsibility for everything.
Okay. Well, it's my fault that the boat's going to take a week, so just get ready to not ask me every day where the TV is.
If you'd like a hat, send me a message. And by the way, Jamie, put this number up there on the screen real quick, and we'll let Smith make a commercial out of this. By the way, guys, if you have a business and you need a marketing strategy, if you need some promo videos of you, how powerful would it be if you came on this show with a split screen? I did an interview with you about your product, and then we did it for an hour, and then Jamie and Smith took the best parts, the best clips, and made it into 10 different 2 to 3 minute commercials, and you could disseminate that all over your personal Facebook page, your business Facebook page, your Instagram, personal and business, your LinkedIn, your YouTube channel, your Snapchat, your TikTok, your Clubhouse, and we eventually one day might even get back I can't say the whole word on this network because
Shall
they
I
might,
say it or no?
no, they might take
Okay.
us down. So 912. Yep. No, it's not in 912 381 9078. Put that up there right above, right in between my big head and April's beautiful face. That's fine. Down at the bottom. That's fine right there. Okay. Make sure you smile. We're going to put this in thousands of places. We're going to spend thousands of dollars to put this out there.
Okay.
I'm going to introduce me, then you introduce yourself, okay?
Okay.
All right. Okay, guys, my name is Billy Merritt,
And I'm April Brown Merritt.
and we own DigiNinja. DigiNinja is the most effective chat in the entire world. Have you seen DigiNinja in action? How would you compare it to other chat providers?
No comparison.
Ours is better?
Mhm.
April says ours is better. I totally agree. If you would like to test it, then just go to digininja.com. digininja.com. There's going to be a little guy on there. He says, chat with me. You send him a message, ask him some real questions. We use real people in real time, and we never use what?
AI.
We don't use AI. We don't use bots. We think there's a time and place for them, but not with our chat. We use real people. If you'd like to text us, we do that as well. Just text us below at 912-381-9078. DigiNinja Chat, the most effective product in the entire
Industry.
world. He can make it perfect.
Okay.
Yeah, he can make it perfect. So
You can't have, I'm not Paul Sullivan.
yeah, Paul, like, by the way, you know what? That's another,
I'm not Paul Sullivan.
that is another, okay. So Sarah wants the 904-593-4595. We're going to get that out there. Main reason I want to use the 9078 because that goes straight to my cell phone immediately. I want to be on top of these January sales. But no, Paul Sullivan's been doing radio and impromptu things like this for 40 years.
Yeah.
You 2 years ago wouldn't have thought about getting on a live show. So look how I think it's important. I think you've done an amazing job. I appreciate that.
Well, you're welcome. But Paul's the best I've ever seen it, been able to just,
He's good.
I mean, you said, can you handle the show the other day? Because you had a call and like you left and he went right into something else. He wasn't even worried that you walked away.
That's what he does. I mean, he's an expert. We're all an expert at something. Paul is great at video production, or actually being the talent and being the voice. He has that voice. But again, guys, if you have a business, it would be I didn't even talk about this on our commercial. So let's do that real quick.
Oh gosh.
We can do it. So video production. If you have a business, you need to contact us. You can just do the color.
Okay.
Okay. You can just do the color. That's what. Yeah.
What does that mean?
Just comment if you feel like it. You ready?
Okay.
Put the number back up there.
Is it there?
That's fine. Okay. All right, hey guys, my name is Billy Merritt,
And I'm April Brown Merritt.
and we have DigiNinja, the most effective chat product in the entire car business. But not only do we serve the car business, we serve any business. If you have a business, you are in sales. What we do really well is video production. We love to do interviews with people where you could come on here right here and sit where April's sitting, but do it virtually.
Yes.
Have you seen it when we actually split the screen and invite somebody in using our technology?
I have.
That works very well. I can interview you. We can then produce a 1-hour video for you, live stream it for you on your platforms, on all your networks, wherever you want to be seen at. And then my production crew. How would you rate my production crew?
10.
Out of 10?
Yes.
That's pretty good. I was going to give them a 9. She is a fan of my production crew. Here's what they will do for you. They will take a 1-hour video. Here's what they will do for you. They will take a 1-hour video and they will break that thing down into several 60 to 120-second clips, and you can disseminate that on all your platforms. Facebook. Where else can they put these?
Instagram, Twitter,
YouTube, LinkedIn. Anywhere where you have an account, you can use these videos for your promotional processes, and it worked really well. All right. He can do something with that. All right, guys. I'm ready. I'm hungry. You ready to go eat something?
Yes.
We're going to eat today. Something very healthy.
Search arrows.
All right. Search arrows it is. See you next time.